I was with my boyfriend when we started arguing.
Is he okay?
I want to start by asking about casting in this film. This is such heavy subject matter, as I alluded to on the red carpet. This is a story that I believe was near and dear to the writer Brad's heart as it came from his family. Casting, I imagine, has to be so crucial to ensure the story is treated with such tender love and care, and your directorial vision can be carried out on screen. So talking about Julianne, Sydney, Donal, all the cast that populates this movie, how crucial was that process?
Super crucial, because a film like this, lives or dies based on the performances, even if it's, a really well-constructed, plot-driven thriller. It's really, the characters are at the heart of it, and it's got, it needs really strong performances. But strangely, this was the easiest casting process I've ever had, and I'll probably never be able to repeat such an effortless casting process again. So I spoke to the producers and my casting director. We wanted to send it to Julianne. We sent it. A few days later, maybe a week later, she came back and said she wants to do it. And then we met in London, and we found that we were creatively simpatico in what we wanted to do with the movie and what we wanted to explore. Then we sent it to Sydney. A few days later, she said she wanted to do it. And then I told Julianne, and she was so excited. In fact, that was quite sweet to witness, because every time I'd update her, I said, oh, now we got Donal's going to play Jackie. She was like, oh my God, he's so good. I love that actor. I would say Fiona's going to play Leslie. She was like, she's amazing. So it was also cool just to see actors that were so eager to work with each other. And when you're working with actors whose work, you really, really admire, and you already have so much trust in the range that they have and how seriously they take their work. It doesn't mean you relax as a director, because you never know until you turn over, but I was certainly walking into the first day of shoot with a relative amount of confidence, because I was working with some of the best people in the business, and that's a good place to be on the first day of a shoot.
Very much so. I have a couple of spoiler questions for you that we can now, the film comes out today, so we can run them whenever, so feel free to speak freely, and we'll provide a good warning on our website. The barn burning scene, I was reading that was something that you crucially wanted to do with real fire. Can you talk to me about bringing that scene to life? Yeah,
I think VFX is so great what they can do, but there's certain things that I feel like I can see that it's hard to replicate. Water can be tricky. Fire is hard. There's just little subtle nuances that I can just tell when it's done for real and when it's not. And it's such a huge, momentous moment in the movie. I just was really campaigning to the producers, look, I know it's going to eat into our budget, but we need to do this for real. So we had to build a kind of replica barn and burn it to the ground. And that's kind of how it had to be. But it gave us such abundance of material, later, that it fitted what was kind of like it's the climax of the movie. So it was good. You win and lose some battles as you're making a movie, because you can't do everything you want. But there's some things, I think, when you say to a producer, this is one of the really important things. It's a kind of non-negotiable, and that became one of the non-negotiables. And it takes time. You got to build a barn and then burn it to the ground and make sure it's safe and everything. But everyone on set that day was just stunned by the ferocity of it, and I hope that we captured some of that. The kind of animal nature of a fire. It feels like it's a living, breathing thing, and it's very violent. So that was great.
Yeah, you very much did. I love that Apple TV especially emphasizes practical. I've noticed this with all of their shows, all of their movies. Fountain of Youth is one that came out recently, but there were so many scenes in that film where getting to see it on the big screen gratefully at the premiere, I was blown away by just yep, this is clearly real. And I felt the same way with the barn scene. I'll wrap with this. I was searching hard and long to see what you got coming up next, and I couldn't find anything on the internet. What's next for Mr. Pearce?
I can never do that. I need to finish a movie, have it come out, and then I start to find the next piece of material. I haven't got the skill yet where I can jump from one film to another. I'd love to be Luca Guadagnino or Ed Berger, who were editing one movie and they're in prep of the next movie and they finish that before the last movies come out. And I don't know, my brain doesn't work that way. Yeah, maybe that's a muscle I'll develop as I continue. But at the moment, I'm just reading scripts and reading books. And yeah, it will take me another few months before I figure that out.
So do you think you want to do something adapted or original next?
I'm open. I think it's if I pre-design it too much, it never works out. So I just try and remain open when I read a script, and hopefully I have the same feeling as I had when I read Brad's, which was just, I just voraciously went through it, and it was just so immediate that I knew I wanted to make that film. And it was a bit of a competitive situation because I know there are other directors that fell in love with it too. So that's what you want, is just to fall in love with a piece of material. And the next, the moment you get to the last page, you're calling your agent and you're just saying, how do I make this movie? And because it takes 3 years sometimes to from that point till this point. So you got to fall in love with it in a big way. So that's what I'm hoping happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever you got cooking up next. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
What'd you do?
I took care of it. All of it.